one, take a look on these pictures. We have some solid shapes over here. Here we have a lamp, some mugs, some pots, some batteries, and some lightnings. Here we also have some wires. Now all these solid shapes remind you of what? Yes, they are all cylinders. So today we are going to talk about cylinders, different types of cylinders. First of all, if we talk about cylinder, cylinder looks something like this. In a cylinder, there are two bases that are circular. And one lateral surface. Two circular bases and one lateral surface make a cylinder. Now look over here. Here we have three figures. Can you identify which of the three figures is a cylinder and which one is not a cylinder? The first one is very correctly a cylinder. The second one also seems like a cylinder, but the third one is not a cylinder. So by looking at all the three, what do we understand? The basic property for a cylinder is a cylinder must have its two bases congruent. So the two circular bases should be equal to each other. And then we have line joining these two bases. Okay, so this forms a cylinder. Two congruent bases joined by lines. If we have two circular bases which are not congruent, the shape seems like something like this, and this is not a cylinder. Now we have these two cylinders, but these two cylinders seems a little bit different than each other. Now how they are different? Let us have a look in this. This particular cylinder is called right circular cylinder. Right circular cylinder. And this one is called oblique cylinder. Now what is the difference between these two? Now let us first look over the right circular cylinder. Before understanding the right circular cylinder, we must understand something about cylinders. In cylinder, basically we have two circular bases, and with circle comes the center. Now if we join the centers of these two circular bases, we will get a line passing through the cylinder. This line is called axis of cylinder. This axis is around which the cylinder is formed. Now, if this axis is perpendicular to the diameter of the base, then this cylinder is called a right circular cylinder. When the axis of the cylinder is perpendicular to the diameter of base, then the cylinder is called a right circular cylinder. And what happens in the case of an oblique cylinder? So when we have an oblique cylinder, Okay, so these two must be same. Okay, here do we have. Just join them. Okay, so this is what this we have is a oblique cylinder. Now how can we tell that this is a oblique cylinder? So just look at the bases and find out where the centers are. Now join the centers and you will get the axis of the cylinder. So this particular is the axis of this cylinder. Now here I have the diameter. Now in this figure, the axis of the cylinder is not perpendicular to the diameter. In this case, it is not perpendicular, it makes an acute angle with the diameter of the base. So this cylinder is called oblique cylinder. Now, an interesting thing we can see over here, in case of right circular cylinder, the generating surface is basically a rectangle. Look over here. This is a rectangle. And in case of an oblique cylinder, what do we have? We have a parallelogram over here. So a generating surface of a oblique cylinder is a parallelogram. So this is the difference between the right circular cylinder and the oblique cylinder. Now we will talk about the surface area of a cylinder. So there are basically two types of surface area, lateral surface area and the total surface area. Lateral surface area means area of a cylinder when we exclude the base of the cylinder, base and the top. Okay, so when we remove the base and the top, we are only finding out the surface area of curvature, then it is called lateral surface area. And the total surface area is when we are finding out the surface area of this curvature and both the bases, then we are talking about total surface area. Now let us find out the lateral surface area of a cylinder. If we talk about net, so this basically is the net of a cylinder. So in a cylinder, we do have two bases which are both circular. So I have one circular base and the other one. The middle part is basically a rectangle folded over. So if I cut the cylinder and open it up, so what do I get? I get a rectangle. So when I am talking about the lateral surface area of a cylinder, I am just talking about the surface area of this particular rectangle. Okay, so if I find out the area of this rectangle, I will find out the lateral surface area of this cylinder. So now look at this. To find out the area of a rectangle, we must have length and breadth. Now, when I look at this figure, I do think that the base over here resembles the height. If I cut it open, it will make a rectangle and the height of this particular cylinder will be just equal to the breadth of this rectangle. So breadth of this rectangle is equal to height of this cylinder. Now what is the length? What is the length of this rectangle? So when I look at this figure, this particular is the length of the rectangle. When I cut it open, this will make the length. Now what is this? This basically is the boundary of circle. And what is the boundary of circle? That is circumference. So if I found out the circumference of this particular circle, I can find out what is the length of this rectangle. So length of this rectangle will be equal to circumference of circle, that is 2 pi r. So now I do have the length and I have the breadth also. So I'm just going to find out the area of this particular rectangle, that is length into breadth, where length is equals to 2 pi r and breadth is equals to h. So the formula for the lateral surface area of cylinder is 2 pi r h. Okay, so this is lateral surface area, this is 2 pi r h. Now come to the total surface area. So when we have to find out the total surface area, we are just going to add the area of these two circles to the lateral surface area. Okay, and we already know that area of a circle is pi r square. So now we have area of two circles, that will make 2 pi r square. So to find out the total surface area, that will be equal to lateral surface area plus area of two circles. Okay, so what do we have? Lateral surface area is 2 pi r h and area of two circle is 2 pi r square. Now we are just going to simplify it. 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r square. So what we can find out common? 2 pi r, 2 pi r, and what has been left? H is left here and r is left here. So this is the formula for total surface area of a cylinder, that is 2 pi r h plus r. Okay, so this was all for today. Now you can do these activity questions by yourself, and if you want to play a quiz, you can just enter in this link and you will find out a very interactive quiz over here. Okay, do check it out.